All right, welcome back to the Cow Guy Close. I'm Scott Schulte, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. It's going to be my favorite segment now. We just were able to touch base with our Farmer Friday. It's one of my favorite segments. Today's victim hails from South Dakota, and he understands the futures business pretty well. If his corn, soybeans, and alfalfa don't keep him busy enough, his 4 kids will sure do, all right? So please welcome to today's farmer, Howard Kathol. Howard, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
All right, awesome stuff. Okay, you are our next victim. You heard me in the opening. You're a row crop guy. What do you got going on in your farm there?
Well, we about 2,300 acres of corn, soybeans. Had been in the alfalfa business, but currently out. But this is an area where we produce quite a bit of forage as well.
What's your biggest problem? What would you say is your number one issue that you face today that maybe somebody in Maine or New Mexico would like to hear about?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is, people in the city are maybe not knowing what about agriculture is the extreme costs that are involved in producing any crop really, but the row crops especially. Costs are up $200-300 an acre almost. And granted, prices are high as well, but it's sure cut in the margins, and we'll just have to see how this crop year goes as far as bringing it in and getting it seeded.
All right, so it's a cash-intensive operation. A lot of folks have operating loans. I don't know if you've got one or not, but I'm sure you know people that do if you don't have one. How is the Fed raising interest rates here going to affect what guys have as far as those operating loans go?
Yeah, we're at pretty low levels right now. A lot of us are probably in the 3 to 4% range, and it's been that way for quite a few years. That's one great thing about these last few years is that borrowing money is very economical. But the other side of that is that we're borrowing so much more money that interest as a whole does become a pretty good part of your expense budget.
And I'm assuming that you're saying that because everything's gone up in price, but especially the inputs, obviously, with some of the fertilizer and maybe even seed. I heard seed's gotten a lot more expensive as well.
Yeah, of all the componentry that's come into play here, seed did go up, but the big one was nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and diesel fuel was probably the biggest 3-4. They're up, 30, 40, and some up 50%. So, seed is right there with us, but it's really those other componentries that are connected to energy that has really shot up.
And I hate to say it, and we do energy all day long on this TV show, Howard, but that doesn't look to be getting any better anytime soon, or at least significantly better. Might come down a tad, but that's going to be something that we're all going to have to deal with going forward. And again, we talk a lot about where the pushback comes from. I noticed there were some pictures of you with some pretty big machinery there. What is the supply chain like where you are about something that breaks down or getting parts in? I mean, is that as much of a problem as a lot of other folks we've talked to on this show say it is?
Yeah, Scott, you hit the nail there because, we did get fortunate to get some new equipment this last fall. That was delivered timely, but for the most part, anything new is out 1.5 years from purchasing today. The other items that are coming on is parts availability, and you're hearing it more and more that just something small is having a very tough time getting here or not getting here at all, and they're having to improvise or just let the piece of equipment sit idle.
How much will that situation affect this right to repair thing that's working its way through Congress?
Yeah, it's probably not. I don't know if I could say that that's going to be a big effect. I'm not exactly sure why we're having such trouble getting componentry. I do know I have an engineering background as well, and I worked for a company in agriculture equipment years ago. And I know one thing is we were pushed very hard to design componentry and then bid it outside the US of A, whether it be China or some other country, just because it could come in here so much less. And I think what that's done is it's basically, the componentry is still reliable, but we just can't get it. And whether it's caught in customs or where it's caught up in, but we really relied, and I still think we do rely on quite a bit of outside componentry to repair our equipment.
I think you'll find over the next few years, Howard, that's slowly but surely going to change because those supply chains, you're only as good as your weakest link, and there's a lot of weak links when you start farming stuff out abroad to places that you may have never been or never seen before. But you've been great. I thank you very much for being on the show, Howard Kathol from Yankton, South Dakota. That's been awesome having you on. I love this segment. It's my favorite thing to do.